Like it or not, we live in a world dominated by services, and those services all need different accounts, and those accounts all need different usernames and passwords. What can you do to make sure that all your accounts and services are secure, all your passwords are secure, and to make sure that you're not going insane trying to remember all of this? The most popular excuse I hear to not having secure passwords or different passwords for every service is, I just can't remember all these passwords. I get it. I hear complaints about changing passwords, having to come up with new passwords for every website you visit. I totally understand. It's annoying. And for many, many years, I was just like you. I had about 3 or 4 passwords that I would use for every single website, and I would just rotate between them or put little permeations on them. That's what I did. But that was 10 years ago. And if you're still doing that, you have already opened up yourself to potential catastrophic headaches, hacks, or worse, theft, or worse, personality theft. I understand it can be super convenient to have one password for every single service so you don't have to remember a lot of these. Maybe come up with one super secure password that you can remember and use it on everything. I understand how convenient that is. However, it's very convenient for those hackers to be able to get into everything. I have had some people who use the same password that's a less secure password, and they use that for most services, but then for the very important ones like their bank or their social media or their email that might be more catastrophic if it was hacked, they use more secure passwords. The best password is a password that you don't even know, that you can't remember or you can't guess. And the most secure password is one that's not written down on a document on your desktop that says passwords or secure, don't open, or not important information, or it's not on a sticky note right next to your computer. Please don't do that. So let's talk about how you can make secure passwords and how you can remember these secure passwords, or at very least, how you can find them and keep those secure. The most important thing you can do for a secure password is to not use a password at all. Use a passphrase. Don't use basic words. Instead, use a phrase. Song lyrics with spaces in between and a number at the end or punctuation at the end is often a very secure passphrase. I always make my passphrases at least 15 characters long. I know that some of you will balk at that and say that's way too long. Think about it. If you have a 15 character phrase, it might only be 3 or 4 words, and it's really easy to remember. And after a while of typing that out, it really doesn't feel like 15 characters. It's not a 15 character word, it's a 15 character phrase. I will always recommend using a passphrase over a password. More than 20 characters can get a little excessive and be a bit too much, but 15 characters is kind of that sweet spot where it doesn't feel like too much, and it's definitely not too little. For all these services and websites that you have, maybe the ones that aren't even that important to you, don't even think about it. Actually, don't even try to remember your password. Get a password manager. I have used LastPass, 1Password, and Bitwarden, and they're all great. Some of them have free tiers, some of them have pay tiers, and there's other ones out there that you can use. Most of these tools allow you to randomly generate a password of random characters, numbers, and symbols. When you access that website, if you have the extension on your web browser, you can just click and it will autofill it. And you can even download their apps onto your phone. And when you're on your phone and you hit that website, you can just go over to that app, find the password, click copy password, come back to your app and paste it in. You don't have to even know your passwords. I let my password manager know it, and I just copy and paste them when I need to. So here's the secret to staying secure. Forget your passwords. Seriously, forget them. Leave it up to chance. Get a password manager for all of those random websites and services you don't want to remember a password for, and randomly generate those passwords of 8 to 15 characters long, and then forget about them. Don't think about it. Focus on having 3 to 4 really secure passphrases for those services you need to access often, your password manager being one of them. And make sure you use two-factor authentication, especially for your password manager, for that extra level of security. If you're not familiar with two-factor authentication, this is where when you try to access a system, it sends a text message to your phone, or you can have an app on your phone that generates a random code and it rewrites that code every 60 seconds. So you have to enter that code within a few minutes in order to access that system. This makes it extremely secure and very hard to hack. Even if someone knows your password to that system, they're not going to be able to get into it unless they have your specific device with your specific information to be able to get past that second level of security. For those of you who are working with shared passwords and you don't want to give them out, I know a few people who work in a business environment, or maybe you have a spouse that needs to access your passwords and you don't want to have them text you all the time and you're looking up the password in your password manager to text back to them. Many of these services allow you to create shared folders where you can share passwords. So let's say you and your work colleague both are using Bitwarden as your password manager system. You can create a shared place where only those work-related passwords are stored, and both of you can access them from your own individual Bitwarden accounts. If you ever create a new password or update a password for one of those shared systems, all you got to do is make sure you're updating it in that box, and now everyone who accesses that shared password has access to it. If one of your people gets compromised, that password gets compromised, you can go in and change it and it'll change for everyone, and all the people who weren't compromised now have the updated password. It is the best, most secure way to protect your passwords, not only for you and your family, but also for your organization. A password manager really is the modern, convenient, accessible version of keeping that notebook labeled passwords next to your desk, or that Excel spreadsheet named private saved to the desktop of your computer.